As one goes around the world, both in Asia and in the West, of course, one audiences are lay people, people with, you know, families, people with professions, people with social responsibilities. They are not people who have, you know, total time only to sit and to study and to practice. And sometimes it looks like people feel, oh, well, you know, it's very nice, but, you know, I'm just an ordinary person with my own life, and I don't have all those hours and hours every day to dedicate to spiritual practice. So therefore, you know, maybe I'll try next life. So what I want to explain is that actually Buddhism and the spiritual life in general is not only about meditation. And so this evening we're going to formulate it as what are called in the paramitas, which means, well, it means literally to go beyond, but it could be translated as the perfections. These are 6 practices which are needed in order to attain enlightenment. It's not just meditation. And as we go through them, you will understand that actually the everyday life is a perfect vehicle for developing, cultivating these qualities. Where better? So these qualities are, well, in Sanskrit it's dana, which means like generosity, giving. Then shila, or ethics. Kshanti, patience, forbearance. Virya, or effort or enthusiasm. And then dhyana, or concentration, meditation. And then prajna, or wisdom. So we don't have much time, but anyway, briefly we will go through these because all of these qualities are essential for the path. And we can see that most of them we can, well, all of them, of course, we can develop in our daily life, using our daily life as our practice. So the first quality is dana, or generosity. And this is something which is very much emphasized in Asia. Not only in Buddhist circles, but in all circles, Hindu and Islamic and Christian and Jewish, everybody understands that it's very important to give, to share. And I think the Buddha put it at the beginning of his path, because it's something which we can all do. Even if we are very distracted, even if we're not terribly ethical, even if we have many problems on the way, we can still be kind and generous. And of course, it doesn't just mean with money and material things, but also with ourselves, with our attention. People need help, we listen. People need consolation, we're there for them. It's a matter of opening the heart. And so this is a very good way to start the spiritual path, is by opening up the heart, as well as the hands. One time when I had these friends who were Sufi, and they had a little son who was about 4 years old at that time. And someone had given him a little box of chocolates. And so he was terribly excited. I mean, he had never in his whole life had a box of chocolates all to himself before. And so he was holding them to his chest. And his mother said, why don't you offer one of your chocolates to the Anila, to me? And he said, no, they're mine. And his father said, yes, of course they're yours. That's why you can share them with others. So the little boy thought about that one, because he was only 4. Okay, got it. And then he opened his box and he insisted that everyone in the room took a chocolate with great joy. And I thought, what a wonderful lesson to learn so early in life. That we have things so that we can share them with others and give joy to others. Not keep it all to ourselves. If we keep it all to ourselves, then we get like this. Don't you come near my things. These are my things. But if you open up your hands, it opens up the heart. And when we open up our heart, joy arises. So much more joy in giving than in receiving. Right? It is more blessed to give than to receive. Everybody's agreed on that. So this is a very important opening to recognize that the happiness of others is not only in many ways so much more important than trying to always grasp at our own happiness, but that in giving happiness to others, this is the best way for us to also be really inwardly joyful. This is a very important point in our life. That if we spend all our time trying to make ourselves happy, we will just end up desperate. Whereas, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama goes around telling everybody, if you want to be happy, make others happy. If we genuinely are more concerned with bringing happiness to others, then we ourselves will fill our, like an empty vessel inside us, filling up more and more and more and more as we give and give and give. And as I said, it's not just material things, though material things are important, especially in our society where everybody is encouraged to accumulate more and more. The idea that actually it's so much more fun to give and give and give. But also just to give, you know, I mean, I'm sure many of you visit people in hospitals, or you're working for various NGOs or charitable organizations, and there's a joy in that. In Taiwan, there is a nun called Cheng Yun. I'm looking at the Chinese here to see if I got the pronunciation. And she has an organization called Suchi, which means loving kindness. And millions and millions of people. It's an international organization. And they have big state-of-the-art hospitals and schools, and they go especially for disaster areas. They're one of the first people there helping. But one of the things which she started right from the start was that, you know, these big businessmen and wealthy people, they could not just write checks. She would not accept their money if they didn't come and do something. So she had all these big businessmen, politicians, bankers, out there digging ditches and rolling bandages, visiting the sick and the old, doing things. And it changed their lives. So easy to write a check if you're very wealthy and feel virtuous. But she got them giving themselves. And so it completely transformed their lives. And as a result, her organization has spread worldwide, and full of very beautiful people doing things for others with great joy, great happiness. So one could go on about this, but we have restrictions of time. But really the first thing to do on the spiritual path is to start opening up our heart to include others and that well-being and happiness of others. That lightens us, actually.